Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for NAHA's 2026 Annual General Meeting. I want to begin by expressing my heartfelt appreciation for my wonderful board of directors, our regional and international directors, and our staff and volunteers who have given so generously of their hearts and time to faithfully serve NAHA. I would also like to recognize NAHA's past leaders, beginning with our founding members who came together in Boulder, Colorado in 1990. Their vision, along with the dedication of so many who followed, is what has allowed NAHA to become what it is today. It has been my honor and pleasure to serve as your president since 2015. I will always cherish the memories and the lifelong friendships I've gained through being part of this amazing aromatherapy community. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Now I will turn the time over to NAHA's wonderful Vice President, Jennifer Pressimone, who has served NAHA for over a decade. Thank you for your service, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. So doing a little bit of housekeeping in the beginning, this NAHA AGM, our annual general meeting session, is being recorded, and it will be available on NAHA's website under the About tab afterwards. So you're going to look for the annual general meeting under the About tab, and you'll be able to find the recording there. For the interest of time and to keep us focused and keep us going throughout the meeting, the chat feature has been turned off. Members, if you have questions or comments during the meeting, you can email them to info@naha.org. And for the questions we don't have time to get to tonight, we will set up an online chat to continue the conversation. So now I would like to introduce our beautiful moderator for this AGM, Annette Davis, NAHA's current president. While she is stepping down at the end of this term, she will still be a part of the board of directors as past president. Since this is her last AGM as head of this organization, I'd like to take this time to congratulate her, along with you all, on her outstanding term as NAHA president. Not only has she navigated us through some pretty tough times, as we've all been through, she's also helped us to foster and build strong community relations, expanding member relations and benefits, helping us develop comprehensive and interactive website presence, and helping us to significantly grow this organization to be the largest in our field. And she always puts NAHA first. She is so loved and well respected in this community, and it has been my esteemed privilege to have been able to be beside her leading NAHA for the past 11 years. And you all have put your trust and faith in her and in our organization, and we are deeply grateful. Thank you so much, Annette, for all you do and all that you are.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Jennifer. I really have enjoyed every minute of serving you, and I just thank you. Thank you all again. Now we'll turn the time over to NAHA's Rose Chard, our secretary who has served faithfully for a decade. Thank you, Rose, for your service.
Thank you, Annette, and you are inspirational. And welcome, everybody. The minutes of the October 23rd, 2025 annual general meeting were distributed and reviewed in advance by the board. The minutes summarize the board's presentation, Deep Roots, Strong Bridges, including updates on membership, education, research, publications, organizational initiatives, recognition of past leaders, memorial tributes, the 2025 NAHA Awards, and the member question and answer session. As noted in the minutes, the complete presentation is included as Attachment A and serves as the supporting report. Minutes have been reviewed and approved by the Board of Directors. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Now we will turn the time over to NAHA's treasurer, Eric Davis. We'd like to thank Eric for answering the call to be NAHA's first treasurer and for faithfully serving since 2016.
Over the past year, NAHA has continued to invest in member benefits, research, and sustainability initiatives. NAHA is in a healthy financial position. Our current bank balance is $80,739. NAHA's financial documents are available on naha.org. Click the About tab. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at treasure@naha.org. I would like to sincerely thank all our members for your continued support of NAHA and our mission.
Thanks so much, Eric. Now we'll move on into the portion of today's meeting that you've all been waiting for, our candidate introductions and questions and answers. This year we have 12 candidates running for 7 offices. Each candidate will introduce themselves and share a brief statement. Full written platform statements are available to members through the candidate platform link supplied on your agenda and are available on the homepage of naha.org. So, thank you to all of our members who submitted questions. We appreciate your thoughtful engagement. That's what makes NAHA great, is all the engagement of all our members. So thank you. As Jennifer mentioned, because so many questions were received, similar ones were condensed and combined into a single question. Candidates will have the opportunity to participate in a future online chat to answer the remaining questions. Now back to you, Jennifer.
So to go through the election process and timeline, here is how the voting process is going to work. Election is going to open on Tuesday, September 1st, 2026, and remain open for 48 hours based on Mountain Time, so that members in all time zones across the world are going to be able to vote during regular business hours. So voting is conducted through our verified third-party software, electionrunner.com. Active members of level 2, level 3, and business member accounts have voting rights. Please make sure to go in and confirm that your information is correct, that your email is correct. That way you make sure that you receive the ballot. Once the results are in, NAHA will inform you of those results soon after. And then, as a kind reminder, that campaigning, social media comments, and respectful debate should reflect NAHA's Code of Ethics with particular attention to points 2 and 24. This is a professional organization rooted in integrity and commitment to its members, and information shared should be factual and maintain the highest ethical behavior.
Thank you, Jennifer. So jumping right in, each candidate will briefly introduce themselves, and then I will ask them the questions that were sent in for them. So we'll go ahead and start with Ragda, if you would like to proceed.
Thank you, Annette. Good evening, everyone. For nearly the past decade, I have had the privilege of serving NAHA as the chair of International Relations Committee and Egypt's director. I was honored and fortunate to help guide NAHA through a period of remarkable growth. From approximately fewer than 1,000 members to more than 7,000 members, nearly half of them are international. Professionally, I am a global business development expert, educator, and clinical aromatherapist. Over the past 28 years of my career, I've led international projects across Europe, the United States, and Egypt, focused on sustainability and strategic developments, specifically for MAPS, with communication skills, cultural awareness, and strategic planning expertise. I brought the same results-driven approach to NAHA by expanding international membership, strengthening global partnerships, and developing innovation and educational projects and initiatives, and more to come. NAHA has been built on the dedication and vision of those who came before us, and I deeply appreciate the strong foundation they have created. I believe NAHA's future is incredibly bright, and together we can build on that legacy while creating lasting values for our members and community. I'm ready to serve our members and help lead NAHA into its next chapter with the elected board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ragda. The first question that we have for you, what are your top priorities for the next 2 years, and what is your timeline for accomplishing them?
All right. Leading an international association today requires more than just representation. It requires the ability to lead people in different time zones, manage complex projects, embrace new technologies, and build systems that continue to serve members in the future. Having led the International Relations Committee for the past 6 years and during COVID, and because of that experience, I won't spend my first year studying the organization. I understand NAHA's strengths, challenges, and opportunities. This will allow me to focus on meaningful actions from day one. The framework I would follow is the same one I've used throughout my career and successful projects. In the first 30 days, I'll confirm priorities with the board, establish clear goals, assign responsibilities, and communicate a clear roadmap to our members. Within the first 100 days, we'll begin implementing key initiatives around members' engagement, education, sustainability, bylaws, safety, technology, partnerships, and conference planning. Throughout the 2 years term, I'd measure progress, share regular updates, ensure every initiative has clear ownership and accountability. That's how I've successfully led complex projects throughout my career: assess, plan, execute, measure, and sustain. This is the same disciplined, result-oriented approach I would bring to leading NAHA.
Thank you. Your next question is, what factors do you believe contributed to NAHA's growth over the past decade, and what experience have you gained that would help you be prepared to lead today's NAHA?
A lot of factors. First of all, the strong foundation. Second of all, my amazing international directors helping everywhere. The stability of the organization, as I earlier mentioned. NAHA is not an organization that is just in the US. It's a national organization with a lot of sustainability initiatives and a lot of other organization collaboration. I believe that we're very fortunate and incredibly fortunate to work with organizations like Aramid, AIA, Conoroma. So this perspective, what makes NAHA very successful. And NAHA is strong in connecting people, building bridges, not self-serving, sustainable, excellent education, and global collaboration.
Thank you. So your last question, what personal or collaborative work have you done related to the sustainability of medicinal and aromatic plants? And could you share some specific examples?
Of course. Sustainability is the name of the game for me. It's not something I talk about. It's been the center of my work for the past 28 years. I've had the privilege of working directly with farmers, distillers, manufacturers, governments, and universities, and of course, the NAHA directors. Audited hundreds of businesses and distilleries in more than 25 countries, helped implemented good manufacturing and good agriculture practices. I'm very proud, and I'm always saying that I helped transform more than 5,000 acres of desert land into a successful, sustainable agriculture operation, participating in an award-winning international partnership across 4 countries, and now it's an agriculture and manufacturing model in the Balkans. Leading feasibility studies for the Egyptian governments, become successful projects, and of course, writing in different publications, in addition to being an Aramid ambassador and following everything Aramid has as guidelines. This perspective is the same one I would bring to NAHA, connecting sustainability, education, and global collaboration.
Okay, thank you so much, Ragda.
You're welcome.
Now we'll go ahead and move to Jade.
So, hi everyone. My name is Jade Schutz, and NAHA has already shared our platform statements with all of you, so I want to use this brief time to say something simple. We are all NAHA members, right? Whether we're a school owner, a practitioner, a student, a business, a volunteer, or someone who has served on this board, we have each, and you all, have put something of yourself into this organization. And each of us has helped shape what NAHA has become. And that is that kind of shared investment is what NAHA is. It's also important to understand that NAHA is currently a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which 501c3 organizations are built to serve the public good, as well as to advance our profession for practitioners, educators, and the public, right? That's a really important part of a 501c3. That mission is something we all carry together. NAHA does not belong to any one group or any chapter of its history or any one board, right? It belongs to all of us, to each of us who is a member of this organization and supports it in big or small ways. My hope for this role is simple. It is to help NAHA continue to shine, to build on the work of the previous administrations, including this one, and to reflect the best of our field, to build an organization in which every member is proud to belong to this community. That's all I wanted to say on that point.
Good. Thank you. So your first question, what are your top priorities for the next 2 years, and what is your timeline for accomplishing them?
So I have written this out because it's a lot, but I have condensed it, and the timeline is fluid. But for sure, on day one, I will move forward on several priorities. Some through the bylaw amendment process, which is covered in Article 8 of NAHA's bylaws. Others are operational steps that the board can act on directly. So the first one, and one I'm sure you all know, I'm quite passionate and have been advocating for, is redefining what professional membership is. So I would immediately propose an amendment recognizing level 1, level 2, and level 3 members equally as professional members with full voting rights and the right to run for office, closing a gap that has excluded part of our membership. The second is modernizing term limits. This is like within the first month, 2 months. I would propose a bylaw amendment aligning our NAHA's term limits with standard nonprofit practice, ensuring regular board turnover, and opening up more leadership opportunities for NAHA members. Aspects the board can act on directly include hiring an executive director and relocating NAHA's offices. So I would prioritize hiring an executive director to oversee NAHA's day-to-day operations, freeing up the board to focus on governance, strategy, and long-term direction rather than managing daily administrative tasks. And this will also provide NAHA with the kind of professional, kind of operational structure this growing organization needs. It also would open up the door for future candidates who might be hesitant to run for office because of how much work the roles currently demand. So the goal is to help inspire a new generation of leaders to step forward, especially as so many of us begin to look hopefully towards retirement or just doing other things with our life. So hiring a bookkeeper, a nonprofit focused accountant is up there on the priorities. That would be right away. Updating NAHA's website, which I believe Denise is going to speak about. Discuss how to navigate election years, because we're in kind of a funny position right now where an election year is also the year before a conference year, and that creates a lot of not good things because it takes about a year to plan out a conference. So some discussions, should it be a 2-year term, a 3-year term, how to navigate this kind of election conference transition. Longer term, I think it's important for NAHA as it expands its work internationally to represent the profession in other countries. I think it's worth engaging legal counsel to confirm we're still operating within our current 501c3 public charity status, or whether that growth actually means our activities now look something more like a 501c6, which is like the AMTA organization, more trade member organization. So just again, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but just getting legal insight so that it protects NAHA and its members as we grow internationally. And the most important thing is for me, especially just because I am older, I really am looking to open the doors for a new generation of aromatherapists to see themselves as future leaders of this organization and to know that running for office is genuinely within their reach.
Okay, so your next question, what factors do you believe contributed to NAHA's growth over the past decade? And what experience have you gained since 2015 that has prepared you to lead today's NAHA?
So NAHA's growth over the past decade is really owed to the community around it. The schools, instructors, directors, businesses, members, and the board, of course, have all contributed their time, energy, and support to this organization, alongside, of course, the broader worldwide expansion and growth of aromatherapy. NAHA has benefited from being one of the recognized names in the field as far as the professional associations go. Since 2015, my own experience has run kind of parallel to NAHA's growth through my school. I've spent years now developing relationships with instructors and educators in Hungary, including in different countries, including Hungary, Russia, Greece, Sweden, Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Vietnam, and Argentina. And that working with these different countries and instructors has taught me that different countries and communities actually kind of need different things from an organization like NAHA because the regulatory environments, access to training, and cultural relationships to plant medicine vary widely from country to country. So it's not really a one size fits all, and to really address what educational standards might look in each of the countries now involved with NAHA. So I've also served, of course, as a two-term past president, 2000-2003, and then again 2013 to 2015. So I've seen the organization from the inside during two very different chapters of its history. That combined with over 35 years in the field just gives me a real sense of where NAHA has come from, where it is now to some degree, and what it needs to keep growing responsibly as its membership becomes more international and as the North American market really enters kind of its maturity.
Okay, and the last question, what personal or collaborative work have you done related to the sustainability of medicinal and aromatic plants? And please share specific examples.
Yeah. So I own a 70-acre farm in the Appalachian Mountains. I call it Puppy Creek Farm. It's because it has Puppy Creek runs through it. There I grow medicinal and aromatic plants, either to infuse as herbal oils, distill, or dry them for teas. As part of that, I also belong to a homestead group in Virginia over the past 5 years. We meet monthly for kind of a potluck. We share resources. We support each other. Like if we need certain things, or if a tree's fallen down and someone has a chainsaw to go and help them. So, and then we also talk a lot these days about crop challenges and the real effects of climate change on what we are growing, be it food crops, even animal farming, or of course, medicinal plants. So, and this year in particular, it's been the worst. We're in quite a severe drought in the part of Virginia I'm in. So even I haven't been watering plants because I'm on a well. I don't want my well to dry up. I doubt it would happen, but so it's like the real challenges coming up with climate change, different weather patterns, insects, plant disease is something we're discussing as a community. On the farm, I grow various threatened species or species that are being challenged. One of my favorite is white sage, Salvia apiana, which faces real challenges in the wild, habitat loss, climate change, and heavy commercial demand. So I grow white sage on my land. It likes the gardens in full sun. It just likes to grow there. I also grow valerian, I was surprised to see it's listed on the Aromatherapy Institute as a threatened species in certain countries, because in my garden it grows like a weed. It's actually, I think of it as kind of invasive. So if anything, it makes me reflect on the potential of growing some of these crops and being a small producer of valerian, since it, as I said, in the Aromatherapy Institute, it is threatened in specific countries. So my farm is also a certified wildlife habitat with the National Wildlife Federation. So I support food, water, cover, and places for wildlife to raise their young. I do support the Aromatherapy Institute's work protecting these plants worldwide and bring that same attentiveness to my own land and community. The Appalachian Mountains are a region rich in medicinal plants, so I try and stay up on what is happening within my community of growers and within a plant medicine community. And let's see what else. I think that's about it. I mean, as a farmer, it's a lot to be aware of the climate changes and what crops I can be growing, because I have forest, I have pasture, I have two spring-fed ponds, and just how to balance that with plants that need to be grown in our area to help, like golden seal or whatever kind of is native to that area. So yeah. So that's kind of my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Jade. So those are our presidential candidates, Ragda and Jade. And we will move along to our vice presidential candidates, starting with Sharon Chapman.
Thank you, Annette. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Sharon Chapman, and I am your current NAHA Director Coordinator, a role which has grown considerably in the years since I took the position on. I'm a trained UK and NAHA certified level 2 aromatherapist, professionally trained botanical perfumer, and a certified herbalist. As the founder of Sedona Aromatics, I have over 2 decades of experience and practice in aromatherapy. I'm also the author of the best-selling book, Authentic Aromatherapy, and I work as chief editor and designer for the NAHA Aromatherapy Journal. I volunteered with and served NAHA for many years, leading a team of now 50 directors. It has been a privilege to be instrumental in the growth of this team. As your Vice President, I would help to strengthen NAHA through transparent and compassionate leadership, continued educational excellence, stronger global collaboration, and sustainability and ethical awareness. I will bring a new yet extremely relevant perspective to this role, rooted in my experience as Director Coordinator, which has allowed me to understand the complicated role of Vice President so that I can bring the best experience to the table for members.
Thank you. So the first question we have for you, Sharon, as Vice President, how would you support the President and Board in achieving NAHA's strategic goals, and what specific initiatives would you personally lead over the next 2 years to strengthen the association and better serve its members?
I see the role of vice president as one of service in both as a strategic partner to the president and a leader who helps turn the board's vision into action. My responsibility will be to support the president, work collaboratively with the board, and ensure our committees and volunteers have the guidance, resources, and communication they need to successfully achieve NAHA's strategic goals. Over the past decade, I've had the privilege of serving NAHA in several leadership roles. I've learned that our greatest successes come through collaboration, communication, organization, and supporting one another. The areas I'm most passionate about are continuing to build on NAHA's tradition of educational excellence, strengthening mentorship and connection across our membership, expanding meaningful global collaboration through an established and experienced international relations committee, and advocating for and supporting sustainability initiatives. Above all, I want every member, from students to experienced practitioners, to feel supported, valued, and connected within NAHA's community.
Great. Your second question, how would your leadership style help keep the board focused on serving the best interests of the membership?
So my leadership style is built on listening, collaboration, transparency, and respect. I believe that every board decision should begin by asking, how does this serve our members and support NAHA's mission? As director coordinator, I've worked with directors from many different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences. I've learned that the best decisions come when everyone has the opportunity to be heard and is treated with respect. Once those discussions take place, it's important that we move forward together with professionalism and unity. Our membership is wonderfully diverse, and I believe it's our responsibility to ensure every member feels respected and represented. By staying focused on education, professional integrity, ethical leadership, and meaningful member support, I believe we can continue making decisions that strengthen both our organization and our profession.
Okay, and lastly, compassionate leadership requires both empathy and accountability. How would you demonstrate compassion when working with members, volunteers, staff, or fellow board members, particularly during disagreements or difficult organizational decisions?
Okay, so to me, compassionate leadership begins with listening. People may not always agree, but everyone deserves to feel heard, respected, and treated with kindness. Experience has taught me that heart-centered human connection goes a long way to building harmonious relationships. Throughout my professional career and my years of volunteering with NAHA, I've learned that disagreement doesn't have to create division. If we approach conversations with respect, curiosity, and a willingness to understand one another, we often find more common ground than we expected. At the same time, compassion also means accountability. There are times when difficult decisions have to be made, and those decisions should always be guided by fairness, transparency, NAHA's mission, and what's in the best interests of the membership. I believe it's possible to lead with both kindness and integrity, and that's the experienced approach I will bring to the role of Vice President.
Thank you, Sharon. And now we'll move on to Denise.
Hello, everybody. My name is Denise Cusack. I live in Wisconsin. Myself, and I work hands-on day to day to bring holistic health and wellness to the world. That is kind of what I do day in and day out. And I truly believe that organizations are that vital bridge that helps connect our global community and advance our shared fields. And so, I'm a grower. I have a United Plant Savers Botanical Sanctuary where I grow aromatic and medicinal plants. I'm an educator. I'm a nonprofit volunteer and worker. I'm a practicing clinical herbalist. I'm a practicing aromatherapist. I also am a perfumer. So I collaborate with people all around the world and work to bring aromatherapy to people on the ground after disasters. And also to get other people to grow these plants and preserve these plants. And I work to unite aromatherapists and herbalists because I think that we have an artificial division between us when we're actually doing the same thing. So I believe that also that what we want to do is bring aromatherapy into integrative medicine and into more Western medicine fields. And to do that, we have to all work together. And for me, I have experience mostly in like international degree work in nonprofit management, strategic planning, web development, marketing communications. And my focus is usually to bring modern, transparent governance to nonprofits when I volunteer with them. That's kind of one of my thing. That's my, my jazz that I like. I'm an organizer, so I really love bringing people together, organizing things, and then ensuring that organizations have what they need to move into the future really successfully and really collaboratively. I love doing this work. I love being an aromatherapist. I love plants. And I really think that that's what unites us all and what is really important for all of us in working together. So for me, I want to inspire people by modeling inclusive leadership. That's kind of what drives me as a permaculture person. It's all about systems, and systems are also human relationships, and how we navigate our relationships with each other also drives how we can work together, how we work and represent our industry to other people and to other practices. And I think that all of us, as members, like, the royal we is that we all want to bring everyone together, from growers and distillers and practitioners and educators and schools and students, and allow us to have the tools that we all need to succeed, and that we all have the ability to utilize these resources that NAHA has and creates, and what our industry has, to open the doors for our more transparent communication, to have more modern tools so that people can access what's really needed for them in their day-to-day work, so that we lift each other up and we make our industry excel and stand out in holistic practice to other types of modalities, so that we can represent well to the whole world, and that we can also share vital knowledge, collectively elevate our profession, in the holistic health sphere worldwide. And I really think that when people work together, that we can build more resilient systems and a bigger community that thrives on mutual support and really brings people together and advances our practice and industry.
Okay, thank you. So your first question is, as Vice President, how would you support the President and Board in achieving NAHA's strategic goals? And what specific initiatives would you personally lead over the next 2 years to strengthen the association and better serve its members?
Well, a vice president's role is to ensure operational continuity and bring fresh strategic perspective, and then to support the president. And so for me, I bring a lot of years of experience in working with boards, including specialized training in board management and leadership and strategic planning and communications, as well as member development. And I think that's kind of where my skills can really help support NAHA. I believe deeply in collaboration and like working directly with the board as a whole to move what we need into the future. A lot of what I also am, specialize in is technology and, developing tools and technology that can further elevate our profession. But strategic planning specifically can't operate in a silo. It has to be based on feedback from the members. So all strategic plans need to be reevaluated and edited over time based on feedback from membership, as well as industry trends and standards. What's happening within our industry, within research, within safety, within education, and how can we all work together to ensure that we're at that cutting edge of that? And so with that, I see myself kind of working within a comprehensive audit, let's say, of NAHA's current policies, governance frameworks, operational practices, to ensure that everything is really where it needs to be moving forward. And then also aligning our baseline organizational data with direct feedback from the members through member surveys, town halls and things like that to really get feedback from people. I really think that people can't operate just in, like I said, in a silo. And so by listening to all of the members and allowing the members to have a direct voice, it allows the board to really be able to make strategic planning, budgets, long-term goals as feasible, current, usable, and completely in touch with today's reality and the industry, as a whole.
Okay. Your next question, how would your leadership style help keep the board focused on serving the best interests of the membership?
Yeah, and that's a good question because that is what it comes down to, right? The board is here to serve the members, and the members are here to get benefits and support for their career. So my leadership style in general is always rooted in collaborative accountability and servant leadership. That's really where my background is. And as a permaculture person, those are principles I believe in for everything. I believe in social systems design and right livelihood and right governance and all of the, and ethics. And I believe that collaborative relationships are what unite people. And for the board to be single-mindedly focused on membership, I think it means that we need to listen. We need to be able to have open channels of communication. We need to have the ability to bring people up through the organization to serve in leadership roles in the future so that there's always fresh ideas and new people. That's really important for nonprofits. And I actually want to help NAHA really cultivate new leadership within the membership so that as we're all aging, we have young people coming in too who are really passionate and have new skills and new talents that they can bring in to contribute as well. And all of that is what ensures that the board remains agile, legally sound, driven by direct communication from the membership itself. And then it becomes member-led leadership, which is really where it should be, that we're here to listen to the members, implement policies for agile change, actively responding to growth, and bringing in new ideas or supporting existing ideas based on membership feedback.
Okay, thank you. And for your last question, how do you view NAHA's role in promoting safety standards for the aromatherapy profession? And what specific safety guidelines do you think should be prioritized?
Well, I do think that NAHA's role is to ensure that our organization and members have the tools and educational standards to lead global research, implement safety initiatives, and best practices. And while tracking peer-reviewed studies and keeping an ear to the ground on the latest research data is extremely important, we also want to be able to have realistic safety guidelines and real-world practices for practitioners on the ground. So one thing that I really like is, the idea of is to work to ensure NAHA continues to cultivate their active groups and panels and all of that I know are so active right now. By translating some of this data into more current technologies so that the members can actually access all of this information rather than kind of hunting and trying to search for things, and having tools that are modern and usable, which is where I think that allows people then to take these protocols and this safety data and use it in real life, day to day, and really make NAHA an invaluable contribution to people's daily practice and work. And all of that is, I know that sounds pretty common sense, right? But I think that well-communicated approaches and designing communications and this information in a way that our members can use, but that also communicates our responsibility and role within the industry to other integrative healthcare modalities is really important because NAHA can then help lead aromatherapy into integrative care spaces, mainstream medical systems, and those areas that are, I think, really crucial for our future as well.
Thank you. So those are our vice presidential candidates, Sharon and Denise. And we will move next to our single director coordinator candidate, Dr. D.B. Polly.
Hello, everybody. So I am maybe the person that most of you don't know that well, and I want to change that. Who am I as a human being? I am a mom. I have grown children. I have 5 grandchildren. I have a bunch of dogs. And of course, I'm a teacher for a very long time. We won't talk about how long that time is. But what I really want to get across to all of you is that even though you may not know me very well, I've always had a reputation for being someone that is not afraid to talk to people, that's not afraid to have hard conversations, that will laugh with you, will cry with you, and help you through things. The reason I can say that confidently is because every day in my job, that is exactly what I do. Every day in my job at Roanoke College as a professor of biology, plant biology in particular, and cannabis studies, I have students in here nonstop, and they bring me all kinds of things, whether it's questions about their academics, their personal life, their career goals, their trajectory, their success, their failures. I am the person they come to and they have those conversations with. It's often joked that I am school mom, and I'm okay with that. I came to a small school mainly for that ability to connect with my students. I was at University of Maryland before I was at Roanoke College, and there I stood in front of 300 people. I gave a lecture, I went in and I did research, and I didn't actually ever interact with anybody, and I absolutely hated every moment of that. So I got to do all the things I love at a small place and train the next generation, which I think really is a mission that I share personally with NAHA. This idea of connecting to people, bringing communication across the board, and trying to make sure that everybody has the information they need and want for any kinds of conversations that they may be having professionally or in a career in some other fashion. So my goal is to get to know all of you, and that is a very big task because 7,000 people around the world is hard to get to know when they're not walking in my office. So I have to get creative with that. But I've never not looked at a challenge in a good way. So I look forward to that.
Thank you, DB. We sure saw that at the conference with you shepherding around your 3 graduate students. That was wonderful and such a fun thing to see. The first question that we have for you, the director coordinator is responsible for building an engaged, effective team of volunteer leaders. What is your strategy for recruiting, onboarding, mentoring, communicating with, and retaining directors while fostering accountability, collaboration, and alignment with NAHA's strategic goals?
Absolutely. So I've been on many boards professionally, everything from a journal editor all the way through to board of trustees. And the one thing I've learned is that you need to understand the mission of a board. You need to understand the mission of the agency that you're serving. And that is very important to hold that tradition and to move it through into new directions as necessary, to not feel like you have to come in and swoop and change things. So I am filling big shoes by going behind Sharon Chapman. The only reason I said yes to this entire endeavor was because of the leadership that Sharon showed me, specifically getting to know me at a conference, getting to know me as a writer, and trying to find ways to get to know me. I expect to follow a lot of her protocols. What people need to realize is I'm not Sharon. So there will be differences because we're different people and we have different leadership styles. I also work a crazy job at college, right? So my daily abilities to do certain things immediately may not be there unless you're calling me or texting me, which is totally okay. So I do not plan on changing too many things, especially right from the start, but I will find my own groove, so to speak, and lead from that style. I plan on having kind of an open door policy, much like I have here at the college. I'm very much a huge person for collaboration. My entire CV is about forming big groups to collaborate, forming ways to use everybody's strengths to build and do better, bigger and better things. Whether it's looking at plant fossils and creating dragons or developing the first liberal arts cannabis program in the country, I have always tried to find everybody's strengths and use them accordingly. So I will do the same thing in NAHA. And
Wonderful.
we'll from there. Yeah. And I'm being blinded by the sun.
Yeah. Your next question, and you've kind of already answered this in your introduction, but just to touch on it briefly again, you've bridged academic science and aromatherapy education in your work at Roanoke College. How would you bring that bridge building experience to support NAHA's directors?
Yeah, so as a scientist, first and foremost, I'm here to answer any kind of science question that might exist. But I think one of the initiatives that I would like to do is to create some kind of probably every other week newsletter, just a simple email out to directors that kind of celebrate each other, but at the same time also try to share some knowledge that we're all growing together. I probably will focus on a single paper each time and try to kind of give you a reference and then kind of summarize that paper so that we are up to date with the latest and greatest in everything from temperatures changing and droughts and all the fun things that impact plants, including people. And so I will definitely work to find ways that bring more science into every conversation I have. Every paper that I write looks at connecting science and culture, which I think is really crucial for a group like NAHA.
Now we will turn the time over to NAHA's treasurer, Eric Davis. We would like to thank Eric for answering the call to be NAHA's first treasurer and for faithfully serving since 2016.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Davis. I'd like to introduce myself and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I am honored to be a candidate for treasurer. To me, this role is about more than managing finances. It is about responsibility, stewarding our members' investment, and helping ensure NAHA remains strong, sustainable, and prepare for future growth. I believe technology can help us improve efficiency, better understand member needs, and make more informed financial decisions, while maintaining transparency, privacy, and human oversight. I also believe in building on NAHA's strong foundation and the dedicated work of its board members, committees, volunteers, and past leaders. I support continued investment in meaningful member benefits, research, education, and sustainability initiatives. My goal is to provide responsible financial guidance that strengthens the work already underway and ensures members receive meaningful and value and community support in return for their investment. I would be grateful for the opportunity to continue serving as your treasurer and to help NAHA thrive for years to come. Thank you for your consideration.
Eric, your first question is, as treasurer, you oversee far more than bookkeeping. You are responsible for managing NAHA's budget, providing financial insight, and using website and membership data to help guide board decisions. How would you use technology, AI, and data to improve budget management, strengthen membership engagement, increase operational efficiency, and support NAHA's long-term growth?
Technology has always been an important part of how I serve NAHA, and I believe AI can become a valuable tool for nonprofit organizations when used thoughtfully and responsibly. I continually develop tools to help organize information, improve reporting, automate routine administrative tasks, and provide clear insights from financial and membership data. Combined with the reporting systems I've already created for NAHA, these tools can support better budget decisions, help us understand member engagement, and identify opportunities to strengthen member benefits. AI should support people, not replace them. Its use must include appropriate oversight, strong privacy protections, and human judgment, particularly when handling member information to make decisions that affect the organization. Ultimately, I want members to see the results of this work directly through clear financial reporting, more responsive communication, and a treasurer's office that is accountable and easy to understand.
Thank you. And your second question. As a candidate for a role with significant fiduciary responsibility, where do you believe NAHA's funds should be prioritized? Would you advocate for a dedicated budget or staff time towards sustainability initiatives?
My first priority would be to protect NAHA's financial stability while investing in programs that provide meaningful value to members. These include educational resources, professional development, research, studies, sustainability, the member portal, our conference, and expanded membership benefits. Yes, I would support dedicating appropriate budget and staff time to sustainability initiatives. Sustainability is essential to the future of aromatherapy, but NAHA does not need to duplicate work that is already being done exceptionally well. Kelly Ablard and the Aromatherapy Institute have developed respected sustainability programs, research, and educational resources. Where our missions align, I would support exploring opportunities for NAHA to continue collaborating with them, supporting their work, and expanding awareness of these resources. Responsible budgeting means establishing clear priorities, evaluating results, and ensuring each investment advances NAHA's mission and benefits both our members and the aromatherapy community.
Thank you. Now we'll move to Becky, our second treasurer candidate.
I am the owner of Blue Marble Botanicals. It is a small aromatherapy business and retail store in Fond du Lac, the big thriving community, of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. I'm a certified level 2 clinical aromatherapist, and I'm currently working on my level 3. And I also am enrolled in a botanical perfumery class right now. So I find that amazing. I have a huge background in nonprofit leadership, and I'm really excited for this opportunity to be here today. My real life consists of going to my store, and I also enjoy other things like I love outdoor activities. So I do things all winter long in the snow outside and all summer long in the heat. So thank you, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Your second question, Becky, what are your top financial priorities and why do you believe a new website is needed given the substantial expense?
Well, since I just gave you my introduction, I didn't get my first question. So
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You want to do that one first and we'll go back to the first one.
Sure. I'll do the first question. Okay. So my philosophy on being a treasurer. Treasurer is obviously way more than record keeping. I mean, you know, the old writing things down in a book years ago is not going to happen anymore. My role is also helping the board make informed decisions. I prefer to make sure everything is done in a legal manner and submitted. And most importantly to me, and I think this is a huge, huge thing, in my opinion, it is transparency of financial documents to members. Being in previous organizations, I made that a top priority because it really builds trust among members. For technology and data, I believe that modern accounting software really kind of automates a lot of the process, not all of it, but a lot of the process. So fortunately, we have dashboards, and having, you know, those reports set up are amazing, you know, and it gets rid of that daunting daily stuff that you used to have to do. I think the real value in accounting software is analyzing the data. I do it for my store almost daily. How much of this did I sell and how much of time, you know, whatever. I think that's super important. Using data to identify trends, I also find is very important in making informed decisions about future budgets and financials. For AI, I use AI to assist me, not replace me. I think that's super important. I use it on the daily for marketing and things for my business ideas. But I also think it can be used for generating reports on data. I think that's super important. Trend analysis, get rid of the repetitive tasks, obviously, and marketing, because I think it's important that we be spending our time more on, you know, instead of sitting taking photos with our own cameras. I mean, we can use AI to help with that, with marketing, things like that. And it frees us up to be doing the important things for our members. For efficiency, I've done this before and it is a big task, but I mean, if this happens, I really think creating timelines and standard operating procedures are super important on a board. It also creates contingency. And from a treasury perspective, having a contingency plan in place saves you money in the long run. For member engagement, I think every single member that pays any sort of dues should receive value from their membership. I could go on and on. This is such a huge question. There's like all these different pieces in this question. So for member engagement, I'm just going to touch on one point that I feel is super important: social media. it needs to be kickstarted. It needs to be have people engaging more, but more on the important stuff, sharing important data, like safety things, sharing what's trending in, say, essential oils, for example, hinoki. And why not create a slide that's shareable with our logo, the NAHA logo on it? But I think that really helps the public, and I think it helps people to share things more, and it really keeps the membership engaged. So those would be things that, one thing that I could do for member engagement. Long-term growth, that's a huge, huge question. I could go on about that forever. Every dollar should have a purpose. We have to measure the return on investments, ROIs. Those are super important. Make financial decisions that strengthen member value. I think member value is super important. Every member should feel like there's such a huge value in NAHA, and I'm so glad to be a member. This is why, and they have lists of reasons. I also think that making financial decisions that are more long-term thought out will also obviously strengthen long-term growth, obviously. Third-party audit. I think third-party audits are amazing from an accounting firm. I really enjoy doing that. I kind of think it's fun. You find out like the rights and wrongs of the organization. It cleans up the organization, builds trust. An accounting firm totally adds value over time. So those are just some things I think for long-term growth. And I think I answered all the little pieces in that question. So, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and apologies for mixing up the order of your questions. I'll go ahead and repeat the second one.
No worries.
What are your top financial priorities, and why do you believe a new website is needed given the substantial expense?
Okay, so this is like two questions built into one. So I'll start with the financial priorities. Again, protect NAHA's long-term financial stability. I think that's a huge thing. Control unnecessary spending. These are obvious, right? Diversify the revenue. I think we need more revenue coming in. I have a couple ideas besides membership dues, sponsorships, you know, the usual stuff. I think making sure major investments create a long-term value. I think that's really important. You know, it's gotta do something to generate something to keep it going. Okay, so then moving that into the website. The website, I played around with it, looked at it. You know, I think it's pretty. I like it. I just would like to see a little facelift, and I didn't say I would do a complete redo because that is not fiscally responsible, right? I think you know, checking costs and things like that, but it needs a facelift. I think like when I look at some of the schedules for things on my phone, the mobile, it doesn't show up properly on mobile. For some of the pages it links up to, and just a little refresh, facelift. So I would not automatically assume that a complete brand new website that costs however much is necessary until we dig deep and assess everything. So that's what I meant by that. Keeping costs down. So for the website, there is a way, I mean, there's obvious ways to do that. There's tons of plugins available now that I use some of them for myself, plugins to websites. They're great. AI assisted coding. Some of us know about that. Denise was talking about it before, how she knows the website type design stuff. I am not personally a website designer, but I have a lot of ideas. So, and I do definitely understand how these tools can make things, make our financial situation better, reach out to more people around the world globally, things like that. And then last of all, I do want to touch on this with, I'm kind of stuck on this website thing. So I wanted to touch on this. I think, in my opinion, this is what I foresee a website as being for all of our members internationally, globally. I would like to see a monthly possible subscription with safety data that's usable, a usable database for safety data, a usable database possibly for essential oils, other things like that. Maybe even an small annual fee added on to a membership if you want a subscription to that annually. But I think these are really good ways of generating revenue to make a website sustainable, in my opinion. So yeah, basically I'm just looking to not redo the whole thing, but I'm looking to make it more usable for everyone. And I think that's it. That was my last question. So I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you everyone for listening.
So thank you, our treasurer candidates, Eric and Becky. We will move on to our secretarial candidates, starting with Rose Chard.
Thank you, Annette. Hello, everyone. I am Rose Chard, and I am honored to be seeking re-election as your NAHA secretary. I have had the privilege of serving on the board over the years while owning and operating a very busy wellness business. I've learned how to nicely balance a busy schedule with my NAHA commitments. And throughout my time with NAHA, I have been committed to thoughtful governance, progress, and supporting my fellow board members and our membership. I believe that board service is about giving back, supporting one another, and always putting members first. Thank you, and I look forward to the questions.
Thank you, Rose. Your first question, how can NAHA secretary contribute to thoughtful governance, accountability, and exceptional member service?
Thanks. Well, a secretary contributes to thoughtful governance by what? Accurate minute taking. Good minutes records what happens. You have the present, but the present becomes history. We need to preserve history to protect our future. Any incoming board members should always have a good record keeping on hand so that they can make more informed decisions for our members. And it is more than minute taking. A secretary does not govern alone. Strong governance comes from strong teamwork, good communication, good record keeping, remaining accountable to each other, our policies and bylaws. All this strengthens the organization and it provides better service for our members. And you know, the longer I have served, the deeper my understanding of governance has become. Experience has strengthened my judgment, and I'm able to serve NAHA more effectively now than ever before. Thank you for that question.
Okay. Your second question. The secretary often has access to confidential and sensitive information. How would you balance transparency with the responsibility to maintain confidentiality and protect the integrity of board discussions?
Transparency and confidentiality comes down to good judgment, integrity, and diplomacy. Board members need to trust that they can have open and honest discussions and that time-sensitive information is handled well. At the same time, members deserve transparency about decision-making and the direction of the organization. Part of my role is protecting confidential discussions and making sure that any official actions and decisions are documented accurately and communicated appropriately. And as we know, this is a big responsibility and it requires discernment. Good judgment, wisdom, discernment, and integrity are all character traits that make a good secretary. Thank you again for that question.
Thank you. And we will move on to Margot.
Hi, everybody. I'm very glad to be here. And I just want to lead with similar to what I believe DB said. I have been a member of NAHA for 13 years, which is kind of amazing. I began my aromatherapy career just slightly before that. I first joined as a student. So I do feel like I've experienced every facet of the membership is maybe the best way to put it. I currently am and have been, obviously, a certified clinical aromatherapist with my own business, Rosy Glow Wellness, in my little corner of Northwest Ohio. And can safely say I will never give it up. I love aromatherapy, and I love to expose people to it for the first time and share it, and then ideally bring them assistance and help them find their own wellness through aromatherapy. I think we all feel the same way. The one thing I do want to add is, before my decision to join the world of aromatherapy, I dedicated over a decade to nonprofit work in many facets: marketing, and board membership, and volunteering. So I do feel like I have a really good grasp from several different organizations on how they should be run, working with the board, etc. So that's just a little bit of my story. I also am the founder of the Great Lakes School of Aromatic Studies. The last thing I want to bring to the table, and I'm basing this on everyone else's comments because I do think it's important to understand the perspective of everyone else and then kind of share mine. I do feel I bring a unique perspective in where I am practicing aromatherapy, somewhat unique because it is not a major urban area, not a place where aromatherapy is particularly understood. So a great deal of what I'm doing is listening and educating, and doing that in a very thoughtful and careful way, meaning sharing the information as needed and what's important and what's helpful. So I do think I'm kind of, out in the field trying to share this wonderful work that we do. So that's my perspective. Thank you. And I'm very glad to be here, obviously.
Thank you. So your first question, how can NAHA Secretary contribute to the thoughtful governance, accountability, and exceptional member service?
Okay, so I have been serving as a regional director, so I do feel also that I have that angle as far as understanding how the information dissemination, and I do think that that's what the secretary oversees to a large extent, is how is that information shared with the members. So I do have that perspective. I believe a secretary is certainly not silent. I think Rose did a great job of pointing out that it's collecting and capturing the information. So it's a reflection of what's going on in the organization. The accountability, I like to think, certainly as a small business owner, the accountability comes down to making sure we're all working on the same timeline, achieving the goals as we plan, keep sticking to the plan, so to speak. The member service, to me, through the role of secretary, that really comes down to, kind of ties into question 2, but comes down to how do we make sure the members understand through the documentation what we're doing and why. And it should be as simple as that.
And question 2, leading right into that, the secretary often has access to confidential and sensitive information. How would you balance transparency with responsibility to maintain confidentiality and protect the integrity of board discussions?
So again, I have to say, Rose, you did a great job of explaining this. To me, it is such a clear-cut question. It's black and white. If you are someone who is in the world with integrity, then each situation that comes up should be a clear-cut answer. Is this something that is necessary to share with the members, or is it something that we, usually, in my nonprofit experience, do we need to wait until a final decision is reached and all the facts are on the table, and then we can share this information with the members? It's a matter of certainly integrity, maturity, and understanding the ebb and flow of an organization. When is it the time to communicate with the members? So to me, it's the person that I am that I bring to the table, which of course I can't share over a Zoom meeting, but I speak confidently as someone who understands what privacy is, what transparency actually means in the real world. It's a big word, but it just means honesty to me. And then why are we doing this, and whatever the motion is, and then explaining again, it's all about communication. How are we communicating this to the members?
Thank you. So those are our secretarial candidates, Rose and Margot. Thank you. And we will move right into our 3 public relations officers candidates, starting with Bobby. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Cecile, just kind of wave when you're back.
Bobby can't be here tonight, so I have her statements and answers to her questions. And Bobby, if you all haven't met her before, gets to live this amazing life in Hawaii, and teach yoga and aromatherapy to people, and then also come back to her home in Pennsylvania during the summers and have the best of both worlds. So I have to plan a trip to go visit her maybe sometime so I can be in Hawaii myself. If you want to go ahead and go with the questions, I have her answers ready. I don't know if that's the easiest way of doing that.
So the first question, please explain the largest PR campaign you have overseen in your career. Give details of how you measured success. What were your key strategies and what did you learn?
So what Bobby said is she would like to communicate PR inquiries from magazines, newspapers, bloggers, podcasters with a balance of research data and a long history of personal and professional uses in diverse modalities. Balancing promotional messaging with responsible, non-exaggerated safety and efficacy claims, I can say that, are very important. Her goal would be to work on building relationships with journalists and wellness publications and drafting or approving statements, if like controversies arise, having a clear emergency plan in place, such as safety concerns or essential oil use or scrutiny or misinformation, and to navigate press coverage that is skeptical of essential oils in a professional manner. She would oversee newsletters, announcements, and research updates for members as well as the broader public. And her goal would be to use standard industry metrics to measure the success of these campaigns and outreaches and adjust accordingly. And a lot of that comes from her experience as a business person with BeFit Yoga.
And the second question, your platform mentions bringing in outside support for social media. Is your strategy primarily aimed at engaging aromatherapy professionals, the general public, or both? And how would you vet an outside agency to ensure they understand the safety and regulatory issues specific to this field?
Okay. She says, my strategy is aimed at engaging all of the above, especially the general public and medical communities. Ideally, social media marketer would be a certified aromatherapist or someone within the NAHA community who's already aware of safety in reference to essential oil use. A nonprofit PR board member can provide a lot of governance and strategy, helping to create social media policies and advising staff as well. For example, all content would be approved before going live. Every post would be checked for accuracy, phrasing, and any brand alignment before it goes out. This keeps all essential oil information, recipes, and brand communications clear, succinct, and in line with all NAHA goals. She would also work to ensure public communications consistently reflect the mission and values and maintain credibility around safety claims and evidence-based practices.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I am Jennifer Prestimone and I am so grateful to be here with you. I am a clinical aromatherapist, an owner, an educator of a NAHA approved school, and NAHA has been my home and my heart since I became a member in 2003. I currently serve as Florida Regional Director and Vice President, and during my term, along with this amazing board. Together, we've been able to elevate the organization, of course, with the help from our directors and all of our members. We have been able to strengthen our member and director and our whole community relations, building some solid systems, expanding, benefits and the resources that you have, developing really vital global partnerships for research and sustainability, and creating what I think is the most unforgettable cutting edge conference experiences. This last one was just so amazing and filled my heart so full. And while I'm stepping down as VP at the end of my term, I'm still very dedicated to making sure that every person that you feel a part of this NAHA family, that you feel seen and heard and valued and appreciated. And that's why I'm running for public relations, to continue supporting this new board, continuing to build respectful collaborations and amplify our industry. We've done such a great job of helping us be heard, and I want to help further that mission worldwide. And I'm just deeply honored to be here. I'd be honored to have your vote. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. So the first question we have for you, public relations today is about far more than social media. It involves strategic communication, crisis management, brand reputation, member engagement, and data-driven decision-making. What is your vision for modernizing NAHA's communications, and how would you measure success?
Yeah, so as a board member, our actions and how we handle situations directly reflect on NAHA as a whole. So my vision first would be to continue strengthening communications, because it's about getting people the right information, the factual information that they can understand, that they can feel inspired by, that they feel connected to. And having a background in psychology, business development, formulation, clinical practice, coaching, and the PR experience that I have helping local organizations, I've learned the really unique skill of being able to see a situation from all sides without judgment. I think that's so important, because it means the communication is going to stay fact-based when you're sharing education, when you're raising professional awareness, when you're helping members, you're helping businesses, and when you're resolving conflict. Second, it would be to continue building communication SOPs. That's going to help us, respond more efficiently and share information more efficiently with that personal touch that we're known for. And third, it's using social media to continue sharing tips and education while we are strengthening and creating those conversations, so we understand what members need. We can keep delivering relevant resources and benefits, and the success is going to be measured through the real metrics, engagement, growth, stronger media outreach that we're able to look at. The data is very important, so we continue bringing in new followers and members to NAHA.
Okay. And your second question, what is your strategic vision for expanding NAHA's professional relationships with other aromatherapy associations and organizations while ensuring transparency and avoiding conflicts of interest?
Yeah, this is really important. And just thinking back on where we've been and where we are today, it's something that I've already been actively building on as, the current vice president, and members have seen those results. My strategic vision moving forward is to keep cultivating those relationships with other organizations and associations, not just within our community, but beyond, in a way that supports and it nurtures and it builds and it unites our community, not divides it. We need to be together. And this means continuing to create opportunities for collaborations, through podcast and interviews and shared media, where we're exchanging ideas and we're exchanging insights openly and transparently, respectfully. It's about helping each other, and lifting each other up and being able to promote one another's work, not competing with each other, but let's lift each other up. And at the core, it's about partnerships, aligning our missions together, with education and awareness at every level, because when we approach relationships with a genuine intent to strengthen the field as a whole, the conflicts of interest, they just naturally, stay off the table, because the goal was never about one organization or one person or one agenda winning. It's about our profession, it's about bringing us and keeping us growing together.
Thank you, Jennifer. And before we move on to Ragda to present Cecile, I just wanted to recognize our current PR officer and past president, Kelly Holland Azaro. And thank you and all of our past leaders for everything you did to make NAHA what it is today. Thank you. Thank you, all of our past leaders. We sure appreciate you. So go ahead, Ragda, if you will present Cecile.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have her beautiful French accent, but I'll try. Okay. Dr. Cécile Hillard, NAHA's International Director for Eastern France. She believes she's already been serving as a public relations ambassador for NAHA for many years. In countries like France, aromatherapy is still too often misunderstood or reduced to wellness trends. Through her NAHA certifying program in French, her monthly webinars on YouTube community is over 20,000 subscribers. Her book, she worked to present aromatherapy as a responsible, science-informed profession and activity. Last year, she had the opportunity to bring NAHA and TREATS standards into Sustainability Impact Project at MIT, showing that our association has a place in discussion about the future of global healthcare.
Okay, perfect. Her intro covered question 1. So we'll go ahead and ask question 2. You founded the Antimicrobial Resistance Initiative and have international teaching experience. How would you translate that global science-forward approach into NAHA's day-to-day public communications?
Cecile believes that we should communicate less about chemistry alone and more about what responsible aromatherapy can do for people's health. Of course, science is essential, but it should answer real healthcare questions. Through antimicrobial resistance, we can highlight prevention, safe and responsible use, quality standards like TREATS, and encourage research on essential oils that meet these standards. This allows us to speak a language that researchers, healthcare professionals, and the public can all understand. There is no point in knowing everything about essential oils and not being able to use them every day. And even more, to fight infections, antimicrobial resistance doesn't change what aromatherapy is. It changes how the world sees it. And I think it's time for me as a public relations is not about making aromatherapy louder. It's about making it more relevant to everyone every day. Today, through my work and with ARN, I'm building new conversations with researchers, universities, and public health leaders. My goal is to continue opening those doors and helping NAHA become an even stronger, more respected voice around the world.
So there we have our PR candidates, Cecile, Bobby, and Jennifer. Thank you so much. And I would just like at the end of this meeting to thank our members and guests who tuned in for NAHA's 2026 AGM. Thank you to the candidates who stepped forward to run in the election. I'm so happy to see the member engagement in support of NAHA this year. It's just heartwarming and wonderful to see so many members stepping forward to be engaged, ask questions, and volunteer to participate. So thank you so much. And I want to wish everyone good luck in the coming election And I thank you so much for all you've done for me during my term as president. I look forward to finishing it out and then welcoming in a new board and new faces into our industry. Thank you so much.